Ruby, that's right. We need to see Ruby. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is a great day. I'm First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright, and I have to tell you that childcare and early childhood education, access to high quality, affordable, accessible care has been a priority of this administration from day one. And everyone across the administration, it's an economic development issue, an education issue, it's a health issue. It is an issue that impacts women primarily, and it has been a huge priority. More than half, 52% of New York City families with children under the age of 4 could not afford care since the start of the pandemic. 1 in 4 parents have had to turn down a job, change jobs, or take a leave because of a childcare need. We know that no family should be forced to choose between their children or their career. And we know all too often that it is women that have to make the sacrifice, and specifically women of color. However, we have made real advancements as an administration from day one. Across all of our agencies, we have been working on this issue. These are some of the accomplishments, and there are more to come. We were able to secure billions of dollars from the state to fund childcare, really an unprecedented investment. We were able to clear the Administration for Children's Services backlog. There were 35,000 families that were on a waiting list, waiting to get care. That backlog has been cleared. We launched a tax abatement for property owners to create more child care centers and increase seats, because we know it's not just what public dollars can do, but the private sector, the employers, they also know that they need to have child care for their workers, and we've given them an incentive to create more seats. Also, in partnership with the council, we launched Promise NYC to support asylum seekers and undocumented individuals and families in need of care, and it's been extremely successful. Another accomplishment is that we reduced the maximum amount that families must pay. Currently, the average copayment per child is $3.34 per week. This is down from about $25 a week in May of 2022. These are all very significant accomplishments, and it doesn't happen without a cross-agency effort. The mayor has always stressed that we do not work in silos. We have one mission and one vision, and we all have to row together. And so I want to call out the Office of Technology and Innovation, led by Chief Technology Officer Matt Frazier, New York City Public Schools, led by Chancellor Banks, and the Office of Child Care, led by Deputy Chancellor Kara Ahmed, the Administration for Children's Services Commissioner, the Department of Social Services, Deputy Mayor Ann Williams-Isom and her team, and the team of the First Deputy Mayor. I would now like to introduce Mayor Eric Adams to share the exciting news of the day.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Deputy Mayor Wright and the entire team. You know, this is an extremely significant day because it's probably one of the most important aspects of my administration is to how do we make government work better for working people. It is too cumbersome, it's too challenging, it's too difficult, and in some cases it's downright hostile. And I met our CTO, Matt Frazier, in an unfortunate situation. It was in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where he lost a family member to gun violence who was considered to be a peacemaker in the community. And we spoke briefly, and as you heard me say over and over again, for the last 30 years while I was on my road to become mayor, I took notes of people that I met. And I remember writing in my journal and saying that this is a person I want on my administration. And it is probably one of the most significant hires we've ever had, and what he's doing about making technology work for people. And it's fascinating. You may not see it, but you're going to feel it. And his name is not going to be on every bridge that's crossed, But trust me, he's building bridges that you would be able to cross to get the goods and services that you deserve as taxpayers. He has done an amazing job in so many areas for this administration. And I handed over to him my baby, my dream. You know, you're not the only one having a baby. You know, my city was a vision that I've had for so many years. And when I sat down with him and I spoke with him and I harassed him just to get it right, and this is the first version of my city. This is going to transform how we operate in this city. And this is the first version of it, and I'm just really proud. Imagine a day when you can fill out online from your home, from your phone, you can fill out one-time interaction with the city and never again have to put in your social security number, your date of birth, all of that information, as though every time you go to another city agency, your social security number is going to change. Your date of birth is going to change. That's not true. So why are we tormenting, harassing the public to give basic information and knowledge? And that is the concept of my city. One time, have a unique, identifiable way of knowing who you are so you don't have to continue to go through the process of reintroducing yourself to a city agency or city government. But in addition to that, how about being able to sign on, and when you sign on, you're told that you're eligible for SNAP, you're eligible for WIC, you're eligible for DRE, for SCREE, you're eligible for other benefits. Instead of you having to figure out what you're eligible for and billions of dollars go back to the state or go back to the federal government, we are telling you ahead of time that here's what you are eligible for based on your profile. This is just good stuff that we are creating. 24/7 City deserves a 24/7 operation. And today, we're launching My City, an online portal where New Yorkers can go online, do an easy search, apply for and track city services and benefits right from their home computers or smartphones, as I indicated. We talked about it on the campaign trail. We are delivering it today in its first phase. Today, we're spotlighting the child care section of My City portal. For the first time, families who need help paying for child care can apply in one place with one application. Also, Matt's idea to bring our New York City Connect, free broadband and Wi-Fi, to all of NYCHA. We're going to expand it out more. You're going to start to see how the pieces fit together. Because if we have My City, but people don't have access to high-speed broadband, then it's a waste of time. We are building out each apparatus one piece at a time, and it's going to all connect together, and we're going to be continually saying over and over again, Matt Frazier. Matt, you're going to become a household name, brother. In the old system, families had to visit different websites, navigate multiple city agencies, send multiple paper documents, then find out that they had been rejected or told to apply again. And when you're dealing with a crisis, why do you have to have another crisis by dealing with government? Families may not have known which documents they needed to submit or not realize they had submitted an incomplete application. No more. It's time that government work for working people, and that is what we're doing. And here's what My City does now. You apply in a secure, fast, and an accessible manner in more than 10 languages so that you are understood by government. It is user-friendly. You can do it all. Even while you're holding your child on your lap, you can still register for child care. It's fully online, and documents are secured and stored. To save time, family can also complete an easy screening tool to see if they might be eligible before they start the application process. And this is what government is supposed to do, and this is how we're going to continue to expand My City as we roll out new versions of it. Applying for child care subsidies is just the beginning. It's going to continue to expand in the years to come, in the months to come. New Yorkers will also be able to find jobs as we deal with our hiring throughout not only city government, but throughout the city. There will be a connection to what jobs are available, how to apply for them, and make it easier for people to have access to employment and opportunities, as well as check eligibility qualifications, complete applications, track service status, and securely store personal information all in one place. We are using the power of technology to reduce the paper workload, bureaucracy, and red tape, and help New Yorkers get the services their tax dollars pay for and to get stuff done. So you can visit mycity.nyc.gov to get started and find out how your city can make more of your time and your interaction. And I just, again, want to thank the entire team, the DOE, all of our child care providers, and just the visionary, your whole team, Matt, Ovra, and the CTO's office for continuing to bring our city closer and produce a better product. New Yorkers deserve better. We knew that, and that is why we're stepping up and making it happen. Child care is more than a place that you take your child at the beginning of the day or pick up at the end of the day. It was the lack of child care that mom had to leave us home with my oldest sister, who was clearly violating the law, but there was nowhere else to do. And every day, family members are making that decision where 11 and 12-year-old children are being the primary caregiver or providers while their parents go out to work, particularly in single-family household. And then we demonize the family when something goes wrong. So why not be proactive by providing the child care? And it was a real win, Deputy Mayor, with what we did in securing those funds to bring down the cost of child care. This administration is helping people who are going through things that we went through. And we're going back and making sure that they are right. So thank you all for what we have done today. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Adams. I think it really is important to note that the mayor started his career as a computer programmer. And technology, it can be an equalizer, certainly for low-income people, and it has been a priority of his and this administration, and certainly our Chief Technology Officer, Matt Frazier, is the visionary that is driving this forward, and we are really grateful for him. Matt.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, when you work nonstop, you lose track between day and night, right? But I'm Matt Frazier. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for New York City. I'd like to first thank the mayor, and I'd like to thank the first deputy mayor for all the support that they've given the team in order to get this done. When you look at what we've done here, you know what they say, a goal absent a plan is a dream. And we don't live on dreams here, we live in reality. And the reality is, every day that we don't do something, it means something to the people that live in the city. And one of the things that the mayor says consistently, and I said this during the last conference that we had, it's behind closed doors. What you see materialize in the day takes a lot of hard work at night. And one of the things that the mayor challenges us with every day is to ensure that we're maximizing our time to give New York what it needs, and that the city can be its best self when we're dealing with the people who need it the most. And when you look at how child care was rendered, or at least child care subsidies were rendered across the city, it wasn't reflective of any modern day process that you would expect. Imagine being a working mother, which we have, we have one which you'll hear from today, that has, several kids. And then you have to go through a process where you have to fill out a 15-page paper application. You have to take it to one of 3 agencies and wait 30 days to find out if you're eligible for something. Does that sound fair to someone that lives in the greatest city in the world? So what do we do about that? Just like when they go home, they don't have access to the basic services so they can access regular tools or their kids can compete in school like every other kid that has means. Like, how can that be in the greatest city in the world? So last week, funny enough, we were here and we were talking about, not here, but we had a conference and we were talking about bringing Big Apple Connect out to public housing, where we brought, for over 300,000 New Yorkers, free broadband and basic TV to their homes. Homes which 40% of them never had it before. Now today we're talking about streamlining government services so it works for those people. The mayor says it all the time. We focus on pulling people out of the stream. We don't focus on how they fall into the stream. And then when we come out of places like the pandemic and we look at the fact that during the pandemic there was a lot of job loss, there was a lot of learning loss, kids could not compete because they didn't have access to education. But more than that, it's difficult for a parent to go out to work if they don't know who's going to take care of their kid, right? Like, I know I wouldn't feel safe going out to work every day if I didn't know my kids were safe. And what we're giving parents the opportunity to do now is apply online in one place, get tracking information real time so that they can know whether they're eligible for a program or not, and get them childcare as quickly as possible. We are in places where minutes matter, right? And every day we don't do something, we lose an opportunity. So My City and childcare is just the first phase of this. We're going to continue to look across our portfolio of services that we offer and look at what else we can bring into the My City portfolio. But we are big believers of not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. We want to make sure that we get access to people as quickly as possible. And this administration, as evidenced by our actions, in 15 months, we've done things that other administrations have committed, but they haven't accomplished in 8-year terms, right? As the mayor says, promises made, promises delivered, and we're just getting started, more to come. So before I take any more time, I think it's good if you hear from some of the people that are consumers of the service. But thank you all for being with us here today. Thank you, Mayor. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the team at the Office of Tech and Innovation, many of which are with us here and in the room, and also the team at DOE, ACS, and Department of Social Services, all of which worked collaboratively on making this happen. I've been in the city at this point probably about 17 years, and this is probably, under this administration, it's the first time where I can honestly say I've seen every agency cut the policy around, oh, this is my jurisdiction, and we focused on problems like A-Team. And what you're seeing now is evidence of what that can do and how quickly we can turn things around. But thank you all, and pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you, Matt. I think he was 5 when he started. 17 years? You must have been 5, yes. Next up, I want to introduce Christina Cruz, the mother of 5 and someone who is at a wonderful early child care program that actually the leader of that program, I was so surprised and happy to see as I walked in, care for my child. When Daniel was 2.5, and I had a hard job, and I knew that he had a safe place, a place where he was educated, nurtured, fed well, healthy. He was fed healthy food. And now he's almost 16 and almost 6 feet, and that strong foundation means everything. So I share that with you, Christina, the import of that, and please come up and share your experience.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to Mayor Eric Adams and his team for the opportunity to share my story. My name is Christina Cruz. I am a native New Yorker from Harlem and the proud mother of 5 incredible children. I currently have a 3-year-old in childcare and had 2 others who went through New York City's childcare system. I know firsthand how tedious the old system was, the endless paperwork and having to dig up the same documents every time you needed to apply. I remember it feeling like the longest process possible. As a working mom, I don't have the time to keep pulling the same documents and waiting around to find out if paperwork went through. Childcare is everything to me. It is a place where I know my kids can be safe and gives me security as a working mom. This website, My City, is a game changer. I was able to get a demo firsthand, and this way is simpler and self-explanatory. It's one application. I can finally save all my documents in one place. And it is true, this is a one-stop shop for those who need access to childcare subsidies. I want to thank Mayor Adams and his entire team for continuing to keep working families in mind and this incredible website. Thank you. Have a good day.
And last but not least, I want to introduce and acknowledge Councilmember Julie Menon.
Okay. Thank you so much, First Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Mayor Adams. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here today. When I walked into this room and I saw child care assistance as the really top issue that is being led by My City Portal, I can't tell you how much it personally means to me. Earlier this year in November, the mayor signed 5 of my bills that create a universal child care package. 2 of those bills required the city to do a portal on subsidies and a portal on all child care facilities. Now this is a reality thanks to the mayor's leadership, and it's a game changer. We were contacted by dozens and dozens of parents who, as you heard very eloquently, had so many issues around the prior system. They literally could not figure out the maze of subsidies, and it was not fair to them. Just last year, 375,000 parents left the workforce in New York City because they could not find accessible and affordable childcare. That cost the city over $2.2 billion in lost economic revenue. That is changing today with My City Portal. I couldn't be happier to be here today, and I really want to thank the mayor and his team for his leadership. Thank you.
And you know, as we stated, this is only the beginning. If you see the mounds of paperwork you need to get hired, same questions over and over again, you know, all of these forms, the mounds of paperwork you need to get food stamps, to get SNAP, to get WIC. This is just torturous. And so we're now going to condense, we're now going to expedite. This is going to be a fluent way of the delivery of goods and services. And we knew child care was the most important, as you stated, Councilwoman, and that's why that's our first rollout. But his team is, I'm sure they're back in the office right now going through the next rollout as we continue to roll out and really show how government is supposed to operate. So we're, you know what, we're going to take the criticisms of, you know, why is it taking so long? We got it, but we know what the finished product is going to be. This is an unbelievable team, and every time I hear, you know, one of our leaderships give their personal narrative, they could identify with you because, you know, you went through the same, where's she? How, you look like a daycare provider. You know, every time I hear the everyday stories, that's who our team is. Our team is made up of everyday people who experience the same thing that you experience. You know, mom had 6, you have 5. You know, she loved them all, but she adored me. I know you got one. You know, so why don't we open to a few questions? Do Kate.
Hi, Mayor Adams.
What's up, Kate?
You know, just got some questions about My City.
Yes.
The first is, I know right now, I know I only have one. It seems that childcare is the focus, but eventually will it roll in many other services, and will it get rid of, I know we have a 301 app, we have a payer dispute app for the Department of Finance for parking tickets and other apps that are used. Will this all be under the My City umbrella at some point, or is it, because it just seems right now it's just childcare services?
Right. First of all, we love NYC. Just want to say that, you know. And yes, the goal is to do just that. We want a one-stop shop that, let's say, as you stated, let's say you have to pay a parking ticket. Why do you have to go in and put your information in again? Your city should know who you are. That's the goal. The goal is to give a unique, identifiable way of knowing who you are. You should be able to look at all the tickets you paid. You should be able to get all of that information. Yes, but it should be centralized. And you should be able to track, okay, I put in an application for something. Where is it? You know, am I with the claim examiner? Am I with the person that's going to do the final approval? Because you know what this allows us to do? We're going to start to identify where the bottlenecks are. Why is it taking so long to do this issue? And then we could go in and resolve that. You know, the famous quote, Sheena says, we have a scatter and pray system, and you can't do that anymore.
May I ask Mr. Fraser
Yes, you
how long this has been? How long this has been in development? What it's modeled after, and what you would say to someone who needs to be reassured that their records would be safe, their information would be secure here?
So in terms of how long has it been in development, the short answer to that is from the day that we stepped in. It was a concept in terms of centralizing services into a single place. We took it from a concept, looked across the area of services that we offered to our citizens, and we said, look, here's one area where it's incredibly important. It's all analog, and let's make it digital. So for the last, I'd say, of the last 15 months, about the last 3 months have been focused on user testing, right? We wanted to be sure that whatever we put out, it worked not just for government, but it also worked for the families. So what you've heard today is testimony of the tool and how it works, and that's because they saw it as we delivered it and as we developed it. In terms of data security and safety, some of the people that we have up here with us today is our Chief Privacy Officer, Michael Fitzpatrick, and Kelly Moan, the Chief Information Security Officer for the city. New York City, from a cybersecurity perspective, is the safest city, especially on the government, and the safest city in America and across the nation. And that's because we have a capable team that works on protecting and safeguarding our data. Now, in addition to protecting the data, we also have a privacy team that's focused where if there's data slips that happen, that we hold ourselves accountable. So all the tools that we have in place to both safeguard and secure the data today are in line with what you'll find in modern applications.
Emma, sorry. Hi, Mayor.
How are you?
I remember you mentioned that bank accounts might eventually be a part of this, that you could link your bank account to the MyCity app.
No,
so that
his-
you can't pay track.
Yeah,
The second question is, why did it happen in the first year of your administration?
here's what I believe in a concept called cyber wallet. Cyber wallet. It allows you to get your paycheck through a cyber wallet. You can incentivize, for example, if someone is buying a home, if they take a financial literacy course, you can match it. The cost of it. If someone is purchasing food, you can incentivize it, you buy healthy food. And it allows us to see spending trends, how people are spending money, how to provide better services. So it's a cyber wallet. How that's going to be put in place is something that Matt is going to decide for us. And you said, why was it done in the first year of the administration? I know it's unimaginable, but we're it was just the 15th month, and I was dealing with asylum seekers. I was dealing with coming through the pandemic. I know we've been so successful in navigating us through all this stuff. We had a lot of stuff going on, and we wanted to get it right. We had it rolled out. We were ready, and I said, nope, let's go and have an everyday user do it. They're going to knock it around, kick it around, and it must be a good product. That was the goal. So when Matt first came to me with the first version and says, time to rock and roll, I said, I got to have my users try it, because what's good for me as a computer geek may not be good to mommy. It has to be good to mommy and the geek. And that's what we wanted, a good product, so we can make sure it's done right. And 15th month into our administration, we are producing the product that we're going to continue to build on for the future.
Mr. Mayor, you said this will roll out in the coming months and then years.
Yes.
What's the timeline exactly? Like, what's the next phase? How is this going to go?
Every layer, and Matt, you can talk about it. Every layer is going to have the tires kicked by the users. We're not going to be so expeditious that we're not going to produce a quality product. We have witnessed that so many times before. We're going to make sure, because this is life-changing for our city. And so if we try to race through it just to beat an imaginary deadline of something that's going to be the foundation of how this city is going to function, we need to be clear on that. This is the foundation of how this city is going to function. This is a legacy product, and when you're doing a legacy project, you cannot be worried about, did I beat the clock? No, we're gonna get this right, and each time Matt say we're ready for another version, we're gonna go back to mommy and use this and say, knock it around for us. Is this a good product? And then we're gonna come back and roll out the next phase. Matt, you?
So I think I want to just be very careful around timing. One of the things that we're focused on is iterative deployment, finding services that we can and incorporating it along the way. We do not want to fall victim to what you hear from governments all the time. We're going to build a system. It's going to be great. And then 5 years from now, you'll see it. What we're doing now, and in terms of timing, 15 months in, we not only delivered, the first wave of My City, but we've also delivered broadband in over 300,000 homes. So we are working continuously to bring things forward as quickly as possible. We prioritize need based on capability today. So it would be, what we're trying to find are services that have high impact, that are analog, that take a long time and you have no visibility into, pull those in, and then in that process, look at other things that we can refine and also pull into the platform. We have a lot of digital forms today. Some of those things work, and they may not be the best, but at least there's something. So we're not going to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We'll find the services that we can incorporate and bring them in. As we get through the year, we're going to have subsequent releases, but as the mayor says, ultimately a lot of the time is going to be spent around making sure that our user base that has to use these tools agree that they're in a state that's ready to go live. But also one of the things that we didn't mention is that in order to get just childcare live, we had to go both through our state and federal partners because they regulate and they oversee these processes. And the fact that we not only built a system, but we got it through state and federal oversight in a matter of 15 months, that's a minor miracle in and of itself, right? I think you'd appreciate government bureaucracy. So I say, like, we're working as fast and as quickly as we can.
Right. That's so important. That's so important what you raised out. We built the system from scratch. We had to get permission from the federal and state to do aspects of this. So it wasn't as though we had an idea and it was already in place. We did this in 15 months. And we did Big Apple Connect so that when we built the system, people can use it. And we brought down the cost of childcare. Come on, y'all got to find some good in this story. I know it's hard, but y'all got to at least give me one line in the story you cover. This is, all of you've covered government before. When are we going to say, there's something about Eric? Built it, government regulatory issues, city, state, and federal, Big Apple Connect, lower the cost of child care.
What kind of user testing was done? What was the population testing it? And are you confident that My City and this childcare application is going to roll out without any kinds of bugs or glitches?
So I think, like any system that goes live, you always have to factor for the unknown. And if I could predict the future, I think I'd be a millionaire by now. But what I can say, we've taken every effort that we can to ensure the city is safe, the system is safe, it's reliable, and it meets the needs of our constituency. And when we did testing, the way that we did testing was, instead of pulling in a random group of people off the street, what we went to was the centers that people were actually dropping the paperwork off and applying for childcare. And we said, hey, you're filling out an application now. Do you have some time where we can show you something and tell us how well this works, considering that you just went through that process, right? And then how well does it rate to other systems that you use for other things, like simple things? And that in terms of the user or the user base that we did testing with, all of the users that we did testing with were consumers of the traditional process And the specific numbers and demographics, we can follow up offline and provide like the details on that front. But that's what we tried to do. Again, as the mayor said, it has to work for mommy, and it can't work for our idea of what mommy is or who mommy is. It has to work for the actual mommies, the actual parents.
Mr. Mayor, you mentioned bottlenecks earlier in some benefits applications. One area that there's been a huge bottleneck in is SNAP applications, cash assistance. I'm wondering, the issue there seems to be that it's taking way too long to process the benefits, in part because of a lack of staff. Do you envision my city being able to address this in some sort of way by automating, processing, what have you?
Yeah. What I did, Chris, with Deputy Mayor Wright, is I asked all of our places to give me a flow chart of how we perform our functionings. Then I reached out to Matt and said, let's look at this flow chart, let's go over it. And when you look at the duplication, the unnecessary paperwork, the wait it takes for people to come back and get results, I mean, this stuff is just a mess. And Matt is looking at this and he's saying, okay, here's how we can cut the process down. Like, for example, people apply for some services that we know at the beginning they're not eligible for. So instead of saying right away in the system, saying this body of people is not eligible for it, we go through the whole process of analyzing when we know they're not eligible. And we have some cases where people put in duplicate applications. And what do? We process both applications instead of immediately saying, is this a duplicate? Discard it. And so because we were just laying layers upon layers on bureaucracy, no one paused for a moment to say, does this make sense? That's what we say in this administration. When we look at the flow charts of what we do, we ask ourselves, does this make sense? And far too often, we've been coming up with what?
No.
You know? And so the unwillingness to be honest and say, no, this doesn't make sense. And so when my team comes and presents something to me, I'm clear. It has to make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense to mommy. And if it's not making sense to mommy, then we're making mommy life more complicated. And she's trying to raise 5 children. She should not have government be another one of her children.
You were saying those instances where there were duplicate applications and whatnot, that was for food stamps? That was for cash assistance?
Chris, we have time, we'll come back for follow-up.
Yes. Mm.
Wondering if those examples were applying to food stamps and cash assistance. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very fast on topic. Is this available on app version 2 or just online portal?
So we built it as an online portal, so it's both accessible on mobile and desktop systems. In terms of building a specific native app, again, the path was about making sure it worked and getting it out as quick as possible, which is why we moved towards web-based.
Okay, go do some off topic. Thank you. Thank you all. Good job, well done. Where's your team?
The cluster here, all over here. Yeah.
I know I drive y'all crazy. Constantly pushing the envelope. Thank you. We're all run.
My job.
Thank you.
There's a bill in the city council that would provide information about police foundation activities by requiring the NYPD to disclose what it spends charitable contributions on. Do you think the foundation's operations have been too opaque, and do you support this?
I'm sorry to get that. A bill that would require?
Require the NYPD to disclose what it spends on charitable contributions on. Do you support that bill, and do you think the foundation's operations have been too opaque?
The police department or the police foundation?
Well, so the bill would provide information about police foundation activities. It would require the NYPD to disclose what it spends charitable contributions on.
I'm not quite clear on what the bill is. I would have to look at it, but the police foundation, the rules around foundations and nonprofits, they have to comply with them. And of my understanding, there's never been any complaints that they're not. So I'm not sure of the bill. I will have to look at exactly what they are asking for. I know the police foundation is doing some good things in so many ways, and they have to comply with all rules.
Mr. Mayor, Kevin Sheehan, New York Post. So according to our poll, 68% of voters in Carl Hesty's Bronx district are in favor of more charter schools. And why would you go against the will of your own voters?
I think that's a question for the speaker. I find the speaker to be extremely conscientious. I think he has served his constituency well. He has been serving for several years. He served when I was there. I had a great meeting when I was in Albany with him, and I think he's a great lawmaker.
Why would he go against the will of his voters in this case? That's the
Chris,
question.
sorry, Kevin, we have to move on to Chris.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask you about a story in Gothamist, WNYC today, about a nightclub in Brooklyn called Avant Gardener. Your team appears to have gone into bat for that company while they were facing scrutiny from SLA. I'm just wondering, what was the motivation for going in and doing this? Why do you think it was appropriate for your administration to go in and defend them while the SLA were scrutinizing them over people dying from overdoses there, being hospitalized for drug-related reasons?
Well, we're very clear. We are a business-friendly administration here as the mayor and as the borough president. I've always been that way. Local businesses hire local people. It is part of improving our economy. And I've said it over and over again, the backbone of this city really focuses on small businesses. And so if someone comes to an office because they need assistance, we're going to give them the legal assistance that they need. And that is what the office has always done. That's what we're obligated to help those who come in for assistance. I'm hoping that eventually we'll get to the day that the state SLA is handled on a city level. I don't think people outside the city should be making the requirements and should ensure that the state liquor authority, how it's enforced, is actually enforced here. But we're going to always work with small businesses that come with us. It doesn't matter if it's a bar, if it's a restaurant, if it's a grocery store, no matter what. They have to comply with the NYPD. They have to comply with the rules and authority. And I believe that, we're going to make sure that they do that. And listen, if we were going to say that if the overdose happens somewhere that we're going to blame a particular business, as long as they're not neglectful, we have a drug problem in this country, and we need to address that drug problem. I said it more than once. But we're going to always, when somebody comes to us for help, we're going to give them the professional help, and we're going to give them the advice. That's what I've done in the borough president, in the state senate, and what I'm going to do as the mayor.
So you don't think they're at fault for the overdoses?
Chris, we have to move on. Ethan?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, on Monday, did you talked about migrant funding as kind of your top priority in Albany this year. Did you get any specific commitments from the state legislative leaders about that? I know you don't like to go into private conversations, but, I guess how are things looking?
Well, both the governor, the leader of the assembly, and the leader of the Senate all understood that this is a real issue that we're facing. And they understand that we have to work together, number one, to get dollars from the federal government, come up with a real immigration policy on the federal level, as well as the proper funding. And I left there encouraged that they understand that New York City has really carried this burden for so long, and they were proud of what we've done here. No other city has done it, of what we have accomplished. And so we're looking for them to go through their negotiation process and receive the funding that we deserve to receive to deal with this crisis.
We have time for one minute. Emily, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, Emily.
You can go.
Hi, Mayor. I wrote this week about the end of pandemic-era food stamp benefits. Someone's receiving $80 less a month in food stamps than they were before. So the Met Council's asked for more money as part of the budget for emergency funding for food shelters, and this is, you know, I was out talking to New Yorkers in line at a food pantry, and they're really concerned about being able to, you know, provide the basics for their family. Are you open to this request from the Met Council?
Yeah, no, and listen, I think David Greenfield is doing an unbelievable job. I was with his team on Sunday as they were giving out food to those who are in need. Not only did the pandemic impact us on food pantries, but we're seeing a large number of migrant and asylum seekers that are also going to food pantries. We're going to sit down. These are tough choices we have to make. I cannot emphasize enough when we talk about all of these different places we have to find efficiency. We have a $4.2 billion bill that came out of nowhere. And every service in the city is going to be impacted, and we have to make these tough decisions, and our goal is to do what we have been doing, find out how do we minimize the pain, but we're all going to receive some pain. And I'm going to sit down and speak with David. David is doing a great job over at the Met Council, and we want to find ways that we can get private philanthropy as well as our public dollars to do the right combination. The volunteerism that we see, everyone knows where I'm at Wednesday night at 9 p.m. I'm on 34th Street between 7th and 8th handing out food to New Yorkers who are on their tough times. What we did yesterday, where we got SUNY to do haircuts. We are being creative in solving these crises that people are facing. And so we will sit down with the Met Council and others to see how we can minimize the pain that we're all going to experience. Thank you.